It's really, I mean, it's
Yeah,
incredible. It is really insane. And all just coming from that tiny little
yeah.
room with people in the
Tiny little
hallway.
room.
That's
Because what we
amazing.
also do, which is really fun on the day, is like we created like an education space that I called Tent Talks.
Mm,
And so we've got like free talks happening all day across a range of topics. And then
yeah,
we've got the
amazing.
mindful movement space, which
Hmm.
is for yoga and Pilates and meditation and like beautiful mindful practices throughout the day. And then of course we've got the main stage,
Yeah,
which has like we support local performers and musicians, all vegan, of course. There's vegan everywhere.
yeah, yeah,
And we support them to do their thing all day.
yeah.
And
That's
we've got
amazing.
like speakers that go all around the site, like the wires, like the cables alone are like 500 or like 15 kilometers of actually I can't remember.
Mm,
500 meters is a lot of
long.
cabling,
Yeah, I
which is
just want to
really,
say this, like, just a
yeah,
lot, just a lot.
yeah,
That's amazing
yeah,
because then for you, because this is now your full time job, pretty much, right? Like
yeah.
your focus mainly on, because you have to. I mean, this is also a monthly event, right? So,
Well, actually, my role with Vegan New South Wales, my official title is the market program manager.
mm-hmm,
And so what that means is that I am Sydney Vegan Market Coordinator, but
yeah,
so I coordinate Sydney Vegan Market, but my job really, aside from that, is to roll out vegan markets around the state.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so we've done that in Newcastle,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got plans for Western Sydney.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah, and then sort of a little bit closer north and then south. We're sort of wanting to roll them out over the next few years, and then further regionally as well, like
Yeah,
using the same framework that we've done with Sydney
yeah.
and Newcastle.
Well, I feel like if you can, if you can convince the entertainment quarter people, then I'm sure,
Yeah,
with your very, like organized paperwork, and I
yeah,
think also status, at the time, like you have a status now as well. You've been going for 2 years, and it's growing, and people are talking about it. I mean, I couldn't believe. I think I was actually emotional the first time I saw a photo. I was like, I cannot believe that. And in general, it's beautiful because I left Australia, of course, like now 5 years ago, and with not, and it wasn't easy to leave. So,
mm,
I mean, of course, I was in love with Miguel and it was amazing and stuff, but it was hard for me to leave behind what you've built, and so to see, like, even these little things, like that people, that what we've done together, and we were so strong about that and we were so passionate about it, and to see that that's grown into something so huge is so beautiful, and the fact that I'm extremely proud of your work, and how
thank
you
you.
continued it and made it a monster, like it's huge now, and it should
It's so
be,
big.
it should be,
Yeah,
it's also a proof for people that veganism is growing and people want plant-based living, and it's just like what you were just saying as well. Even when we had the little one, people just wanted it,
yeah.
and there is this is and especially what you're also saying about like this sustainable way of people like actually returning. It's also another like, it's not just, people want it, they're curious, they want to know,
Yeah. And
and
it's like a gentle, like I think that it's like gentle activism. So I call
yeah,
it activism
yeah,
through burgers.
yeah, yeah,
And so,
totally, totally,
because like who I'm looking at are non-vegans to
yeah,
come and like try this amazing food.
yeah,
Because we have food, like, I curate it so that we've got a whole range of
mm-hmm,
stuff.
yeah,
And it's like extremely multicultural. There's
yeah,
food from all over the world
yeah,
there.
yeah,
But then like also like on that sustainability, through that sustainability lens, like we have so from the beginning, we've made it plastic free.
mm,
And so what that sort of now looks like is and we've insisted on compostable
yeah,
serviceware.
yeah,
And so everything that's consumed on the day is compostable.
yeah, yeah,
And so what we then do, like we've partnered with a commercial composter,
yeah,
and so it's usually about 5,000 litres after every market. And then they send that off to a facility in Port Kembla, like down south, and they turn it into soil.
Yeah, amazing.
And so we've sort of, we're doing this regenerative sort of practice of turning, I love that. Like,
it's so important. It's such an important part because there's still so many. I mean, I go to these festivals and they call themselves the Green Festival, and then you still see so much, non-green stuff happening on these festivals. And I think especially when you are a vegan, because vegan is also, we are for the animals, but we definitely also are for the environment. So it's an extremely, I'm so happy you're saying this because, it should be part of it, it should be part of every festival.
And, it wasn't actually that hard. Like, we just made it a rule from the beginning. Yeah. And if anyone doesn't read the the guidelines and they show up with plastic bottles or whatever, I just tell them to take them off the shelves. Like, they're not allowed to sell them. Yeah. Like, we just won't have it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
perfect.
Because, like, actually the earth is precious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you want to,
and you want to send that message out as well. And especially when you say, like, we're going for the non-vegans, you also want to put that message out for other people. I mean, I think most vegans understand, but, as other people as well, it's like, plastic will, it's funny because I'm actually doing, like, Plastic-Free July. And in general, like, I just was so sick of, still having too much plastic when I'm actually already quite a Nazi about it. But now I'm like, no, I just want it all gone. So,
totally.
so happy you're saying that.
Like, we really push across social media, like, one of the core messaging that we have is BYO.
Yeah.
And so not just like BYO coffee cups, but like BYO containers. So what we see, and you can see it on the Instagram and like the spreads of people's stuff, like they've got these like random dodgy Tupperware containers that they just like hand over to the stall holders who all accept them.
Yeah.
And so there's this really sort of beautiful
it's so
sort of DIY culture that happens. Everyone's sort of walking around with bags of plastic containers.
So I would say that also having this function now and having this, like, doing this job has completely changed. So you also then, was it also part of you giving up or selling your business was also because you really wanted to focus on this? Like, it kind of, organically evolved into, you just doing this? Yeah.
Yeah, I really recognised that this was my purpose, to be building community like this and like doing my best to further the movement and change culture. And so, I sold the vegan tea house and then we closed Maker at the beginning of last year so that, like, that was my reasoning for that was so that I could fully focus on the market program, and because it just feels like, aside from putting on events and supporting the community to have a safe space to gather, supporting the businesses, like, that's where I was. Like, I ran a vegan business as a market storeholder. Yeah. And so, it feels so good to be able to provide a platform.
Exactly.
That I would have loved,
to have that kind of support. Yeah.
Like,
totally.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And then of course, with COVID, we haven't had a market since February, and cancelling that March market was like devastating for us, like to make that decision, because we know that the stall holders that we support there, like, so much of their income comes from market day. Like, some of them, half of their monthly income comes from that one day of selling. Yeah. And so
then it makes
sense.
Was
hard.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's especially like the little guys that are always suffering. Like, really, it's really, really. I mean, the big corporations, they'll be fine, But because you were mentioning that you'll probably do one in August, September, but you're not totally sure yet, right?
No, we're planning for that, but it all depends. Like, there's been an outbreak of COVID in Victoria, like a fairly large one. Yeah. And there's hotspots happening in various parts of Sydney, and so it really just depends. Like, it's all very up in the air, which is quite hard
Well,
and
especially for an event
stressful.
organizer, of course, because you can't be organizing or planning in uncertainty. It's really,
Yeah,
it must be so
it's really
difficult.
hard.
Yeah.
It's not good for my creativity, that's for
No,
sure.
I can imagine, Kate. But
Yeah.
speaking of which, now let's speak about more positive things. You also have VTV, and you asked me
Yes.
recently to be part of that, and I
Yes.
sent a little thing to you, and I was very honored because it's so nice for me to be able to still connect with New South Wales. There's us.
Yes.
Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about
So
that.
VTV. So that's been really fun, actually. So we closed the markets and we did a couple of things. We built an online marketplace
So
called the
cool.
Vegan New South Wales Marketplace,
Yeah.
which has got, and that was, it was so that we could try and continue to support our
Yeah.
sellers,
Yeah.
like our store holders. And so
Yeah.
there's a bunch on there, sort of
Nice.
selling their wares. And then, so that's sort of doing its thing. But then the really fun thing that we developed is called VTV, which is Vegan New South Wales TV. And that's been going for like 3 months now, actually. And we launched that through a webinar platform and we called it, so we've got sort of 4 programs. It's like a TV channel, like a digital TV channel.
So cool.
It's a bit of a reach, but that's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
And and the sort of one that we've been running for the longest we call Vibe Stream, which is like a variety. It was like it's morphed now, but it's like a variety show, and it's been on every Sunday from 12 till 2 initially, and it was like pre-recorded content videos and live conversations, and that's been amazing. And all free, of course. And then what we did was we moved that, and we also got the mindful movement program, which is free yoga, Pilates, or meditation on a Sunday morning at 9:00. And so we moved both of those to the Sydney Vegan Market Instagram.
Yeah, perfect.
And so what we do now is we post video content throughout the week on IGTV. And then every Sunday, me and Dylan, who's the coordinator of Newcastle, we like take turns over about an hour chatting with various people.
Yeah, so cool.
Like on Instagram Live.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's been so fun. It's been so fun connecting with people. And one of the best parts of it, I think, we reached out to a lot of sanctuaries and asked them to send us videos of tours.
That's so great. So great. Such a great thing. Yeah. So important.
So
because like they can't usually go somewhere, but they also need the support, like,
Well, that's right. Like we support a lot of sanctuaries at the markets.
Yeah.
So they have stalls and they sell merch and do their things there. And so that's been, that's hit them. And so that's been really fun. And then we've also got...
Sorry, Kate, really quickly. This online marketplace that you were just mentioning, can people from all over the world buy stuff there? Like you can go...
Just Australia at the moment.
Just Australia. Okay.
Yeah. And so, but it is, it's just available in Australia, and it's vnswmarketplace.org.au.
Perfect. We'll put it in the notes.
Oh, cool. But people from all over the world can engage with the with VTV, and then depending on time zones and stuff, of course. Yeah. We've also got a VTV education and VTV spotlight programs, which are paid webinars. So that's $5 a ticket. Yeah. And like it's helping Vegan New South Wales to raise, like, to have some money, not much, but a little bit. And that's where we have like experts and educators and personalities having like an hour conversation about, the thing that they do, So we've had your mate, Dr. Peter Chen, came on last week.
I love him.
What a legend.
He's so great. He's just great.
So great.
Yeah.
And he talked about the history of like animal activism in Australia and policy.
Yeah, he knows. He wrote a whole book about that. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he talked about that. Yeah, his amazing mohawk and.
Oh yeah.
That's the stuff. That's what we're doing.
That's amazing. That's so cool. That's so cool. So that's definitely for all the listeners that aren't in Australia, they can actually you know, listen, participate, you know, like have a good look at that. Yeah, it was really, it's a really cool, it's an